Hello everyone and welcome back to the workshop. The CNC mill build has yielded some really great results since I built it. It needed some backlash compensation and the feeds and speeds to be really dialed in, but I'm really happy with the results that the mill yields. However, I do need to upgrade the work fixture. The most common method I've been using is simply supergluing the work to a piece of ground aluminium plate, and that works fine. But since I either use heat or acetone to break the superglue bond, it really limits me to only using metal on the mill. And even though that this method works fine, it really is no substitute for a proper vise. So the best course of action is to make my own vise. The vise I intend to make takes advantage of the T-slots, and it's relatively simple to produce. It comprises of 3 pieces of steel bar stock, some brass pins and some bolts. One great advantage to this design is its very low profile, which is necessary because of the small amount of space available on my mill. The first thing we need to do is cut the steel from this 2 meter long piece of square stock and then face them on the lathe. The square stock has a fair bit of variation in its height on each of the faces, so the best course of action is to grind them flat. Now the proper way to do this would be to use a surface grinder or a fly cutter on a mill, but unfortunately I don't own a surface grinder and I'm not sure if my small mill is either powerful or rigid enough to use a fly cutter, so I'm going to have to stick to using an end mill, which should hopefully suffice. The workpiece is glued to a fixture plate and light passes are taken to take the face down to an even height. To remove the workpiece, the glue bond is broken using some heat, and then the remaining glue is removed with acetone. The same process is done on the opposite face. This is done for all of the 4 faces on each of the 3 pieces of steel. The dial indicator is used to show the flatness of the surface, and any high spots or burrs are removed with a diamond stone. The hole for the bolt that will extend the jaw is tapped to receive an M5 thread. I originally intended this offset for the hole so I could more easily insert the Allen wrench, but after use, it probably wasn't necessary in hindsight. Next we need to make the brass pins that will ensure that the vice jaws move so that they remain parallel to each other. Alright, the vise is ready to be assembled. The end piece is first bolted square to the mill bed using a tri-square. The front end can then be bolted to the T-slots, and the screw is used to push the movable jaw into the workpiece. The jaw only moves a few millimeters, but the work is very firmly fixed onto the bed. Down the road, I'm going to have to make some soft jaws for the vise, but at the moment I'm very happy with how it holds square stock. And with that, thank you very much for watching.